honestly, I'm not angry about it. I just knew he was going to do it. And it's kind of like, all right, man, whatever.
It's a blue light special.
And that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. If it's one guy, like, I don't think they both play because Randy Carl likes to play 3 left and 3 right. And I don't see them playing Schenn and Sustr on the same pairing, on the bottom pairing. I feel like Pettersson or Larson probably gets a chance. And then one of these guys, probably Schenn, is the spare one. I think it's essentially you're replacing BX and Boschman with younger versions of themselves, and that they're not going to be really impactful, and they're going to be, I guess, a negative on the ice. I mean, you look at their possession metrics, and they're not great. Schenn's are awful, but he played in Arizona last year, so I can understand that. But there were some good guys a little bit better than them. I mean, Greg Pattern went to Minnesota. And I think he would have been a better addition to bring in if you could have got him. Obviously, I guess Minnesota appealed to him a little bit more than Anaheim did, but there was some different options you could have gone with out there on the bottom pairing side of things that maybe would have been better than these guys. But it's a 1-year deal. It's not like we signed Schenn for 3 years and we have to worry about it like an awful contract. So if it doesn't work out, bury him in the minors, or just you just don't resign him next year and you move on.
Yeah, I mean, one of them is going to play, and it's probably going to be Sustr. I can't imagine having Schenn be the guy that's in there the whole time.
Yeah, because I feel like like Luke Schenn, I think, was signed by the Kings, like 2 years ago or something like that, and they immediately said we got him. He'll play in the minors. So I kind of feel like it's a guy that, unless it's a team that's struggling for any sort of leadership or experience, which the Ducks, even though although are young on defense, have plenty of experience, I feel that he doesn't really crack it. Sustr, although I would have liked him maybe a few years back now, I mean, he's 6'7". That's probably his best attribute. He's more of a shutdown type of guy. He doesn't really score many goals. I think he's got 10 in his career. But at the same time, he's a gentle giant. So he's a big guy, and you're expecting, a bruiser or someone that's going to, hurt you in front of the net. That's not really his style. So it's, again, underwhelming. Just, we're going to fill out the bottom in case someone gets injured. Other than that, it's not blowing my skirt up.
He didn't play for the Kings, though.
He didn't?
Arizona, Toronto, Philly, and Anaheim.
I swear, some Schenn.
Yeah. I thought you said that, and I felt like he did, but I guess. Maybe I remember, it was Arizona the last 2 seasons, and then I thought he got a shot, at least, with the Kings at some point. But
yeah.
I'm going to look that up.
All right, I told you to look.
But he's getting paid $800,000. So he's going to be in the minors. Yeah, he's playing in the minors.
Yeah, you don't get paid.
It's just
that and play in the NHL.
Or a 7th guy. He could be like a Holzer kind of thing.
So Braden Schenn is the guy who's a beast. Was drafted
he drafted by the Kings, yeah.
So that's the only Schenn.
All right, well, then me and Eddie are off, but I swear Schenn got recently, too. So, all right.
Maybe I'm crazy. Let me look. Okay, so Cap Friendly didn't show that. At least I didn't see it. You guys are driving me nuts.
Now we've dedicated a portion of the show to finding out if
you guys were right. You guys were right.
Okay.
Hey, we had to figure it out. I don't care if it's on the show. We had to figure it out. It was going to drive me nuts.
Off record.
Yeah. It's fine. Whatever.
It's all good. No one's listening.
So let's get on over to Andrej Sustr. He's going to be Francois Beauchemin. That's essentially what he's taken over. Beauchemin was a regular constantly last season, and BX kind of would slot in when Beauchemin needed a break or someone was hurt. So I feel like that's going to be the new way that it's going to go. You're going to bring in a veteran guy who's gigantic, 6'7", like Jason said, gentle giant,
mental midget.
But that's going to be the player that we're going to see slot in. As consistently with, like you said, Eddie, with Welinski, Pettersson, whoever they're going to throw in that bottom. The Ducks' top 4, that's pretty much solidified, right? Cam Fowler, Brandon Montour, Lindholm, Josh Manson. So now that we've gotten to know all these free agents, they've always want this veteran presence. When the hell is it going to be enough for Cam Fowler to be considered a leader on this team? I don't understand how he's not that guy. We need veterans, okay? Cam Fowler's played a hell of a lot of hockey in his career. I mean, we always look at his baby face. We think he's like 19 years old. That kid's like 25, almost 26, and they always talk about bringing in a veteran guy. I'm like, what are you talking? We don't need any more veterans on the team.
That's what he said for Luke Schenn. He said he brought him in because he has NHL experience and he's like a leader. So like leadership capabilities. I don't see how he has more leadership capabilities than Cam Fowler or even Josh Manson or to even some extent Hampus Lindholm. I don't see how he's a better leader or can lead the blue line better than these three guys that have been here for their entire career.
Yeah, how did that work for John Tortorella and Dean Lombardi with the World Cup of Hockey when they brought in their
leadership?
They brought in their what do they call it? Their something of caring. We have a
culture.
A culture of caring.
Yeah. Culture. You like that word? Yeah, and I don't understand why they need all this leadership coming from the defensive end. I mean, I feel like there's plenty of leadership when it comes to Getzlaf. He leads by not only in the locker room from all accounts. He's there. He kind of holds guys accountable, holds himself accountable, and goes out there and actually produces as one of the top forwards on the team. So it's like, how much more odd leadership are you going to bring in on a guy in a one-year contract who's not used to playing for this team? Oh, he's a leader. We got leadership. We're good. Thanks. Bring in someone that's going to put up points. And scene.
Yeah.
Where do you guys grade free agency then? I mean, Bob didn't really do anything that we expected or that we didn't expect. I kind of expected him to move somebody to make that change. Apparently, trading Perry and his gigantic contract, difficult go figure, and I'm sure Bob doesn't want to retain salary. But, I mean, I just kind of give it a C minus, D plus. It's like, it's average. You're not really doing anything. And if his focus is to sign these restricted free agents, he wants to give them that money and then plan for next year, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with it. Let the kids play. That's what we've been saying forever. Let the kids play and let this team get younger. Don't go out and swing for a high-cost free agent that's just not going to help your team.
Yeah, I would give it like a C minus and then maybe wait and see what he signs Montour, Cash, and Ritchie for and see what those deals kind of work out as. If those are good deals, then maybe bump it up. And even that might be a little bit low if you look at some of the contracts that were given out to the top free agents. I don't think I'd want to be a part of any of those, barring maybe David Perron, but I think we all know he took a discount to go back to St. Louis. So there really was no deal. I was like, damn, you know what? They could have got that one. I mean, maybe recently Anthony Duclair went to Columbus for the league minimum. Like I said earlier, Greg Pattern would have been a good addition, but the big name guys, just way too much money. I mean, look at JVR. He went for 5x7. Like, there's no way the Ducks were going to be able to fit that in there. So, yeah, a C minus, maybe C plus at the most.
Okay, so we got C minus, maybe C plus. What was yours, Pat?
D plus. I'll just go with C minus. I'm right there with that.
All right, I'm going to go far lower. I'm going to go D minus. I'm going D minus for a couple of reasons. One, I'm just tired. Believe me, I'm the optimist between you and me, Pat. You know this. And so I've been waiting for Bob Murray to cash in on his word or whatever he says. And it never seems to come, and there's always a reason, there's always an excuse, and then the team that goes out there tweaks, and then all of a sudden at the end of the season there's another excuse or another reason it didn't work. Tired of hearing it. For 3 years I've been optimistic, and I'm no longer that way. You brought up Duclair. I thought he would have been a great addition for a low cost. I mean, he's under $1 million. He's got speed, something to prove, had one good season, but he's still young enough to really kind of impact the team and fast enough that the Ducks wanted to do. I don't like, Grabner going to Arizona, although $3 million might be a little steep, 3 years, that sort of deal. I feel, if you're going to make an impact, that's a low cost with a possibility of a high reward. I feel he missed out on some of those. He's signing defensemen that are not going to help or be impactful anyway. So he's pretty much just sat pat and loaded up the AHL for a while. And then who knows, sometimes he goes into the season and, makes a great trade. Vatanen for Henrique, good trade. So that can still kind of change it. But as far as this offseason to date, I say D minus. He's done nothing what he said he's going to do, and he's missed out on opportunities. He could have probably gotten better players than what he's been signing.
So now we're going to have to turn our heads and look at how he's going to sign Brandon Montour. Brandon Montour decided for salary arbitration this summer, and
fairly standard.
Do you know the process for that, Eddie? Like how long it could actually go? It is standard, but is there like a time limit on this?
I don't know.
It goes like a hearing, right? Arbitration hearing.
Yeah, I think the hearing, a lot of guys signed before the hearing, so there's a good chance he could get it done. But I believe when Lindholm and was it Raquel, when they went through it, they didn't file for arbitration, I don't think, because they couldn't. I don't think they're eligible, so it went like really long because I think it went into the regular season. Montour will be done by then because if they don't sign before arbitration, it will get done. So I guess, that can be a good thing, but you've heard in the past that's, sometimes arbitration isn't a good thing because a lot of the negatives come out. The team's trying to get a team-friendly deal, and of course the player and the agent are trying to get the deal that works for them. So they're going to be spelling off all the good things that Montour does, and the team's going to have to point out a lot of the negatives he has in his game, which doesn't necessarily always go down well. I still think it's going to get done. I would hope it gets done, though, before arbitration. That's always the prettiest situation, is to kind of get the contract done before then. But we've really heard no reports if they're even close or what the figure is or whatnot. I'm sure they're working out whether they're going to do a bridge deal or if they're going to do a long-term deal. I don't know. You look at Raquel's contract, that was great for the team. Maybe not so much for Rickard Raquel. If they can get something like that done in like a 5-year deal at a low value, then that would be great. But I think Montour probably gets around $4 if he gets $4 million if he gets a long-term deal, or maybe around $2.5 if it's a bridge deal.
Yeah, I find that weird because I think they have to go like in front of a judge who presides over it and then kind of gives a final verdict on it. Yeah. And then it's almost like the prosecution and the defense, and they sit there and just blast each other, and that never ends well in a relationship to come point out everyone's fault and then try to go, well, but he does all this stuff good. That's not important. So it's obviously not something anyone really wants to get into. It gets mucky and dirty and doesn't sit well, for future signings, that sort of deal.
Each side gets 90 minutes to make their case, and then there's a 10-minute rebuttal for each.
Yeah,
and then so these usually take place into July. So we're going to find out here in a couple weeks because after the hearing, it has to be released within 48 hours.
I hate a lot of people. I don't feel like I could talk for 90 minutes about how bad they are.
Well, the way it's kind of going to go is they're going to say, if you're the Ducks and they want to be, try to get them down on the number, I really feel it's going to be, well, hey, you only started doing really well when you started playing with Cam Fowler. Cam Fowler's lifting your game. This is the reason why your numbers are inflated from prior years. And then Brandon Montour's rebuttal is going to be, well, look at all these other RFAs that got paid X amount after they put out numbers like this. So players always use signings that recently happened with comparables. And then always what happens on the team side is they try to bury the player by saying he's basically being towed around by a better player.
Could this totally be like a new revenue stream for the NHL? They televise it, they sell tickets. You have to sit in there, and then it would be like a Jerry Springer thing. Like someone says, "Oh yeah, well you only were good because of Cam Fowler." Oh, dude.
You know how brutal that would be, though? Because they're just airing all the crap out on.
It feels like dirty laundry almost.
Oh, yeah. And they just say horrific things, right? About they criticize you.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the player will point out something he does well, and then they're just writing it down, sitting there, waiting to come back with something that proves that they were wrong or that can spin it away, that it ends up being a positive for the team and getting a better contract because... Yeah, it could get ugly. Last year, I don't remember the player. I think it was in Winnipeg, so maybe it was Jacob Trouba or somebody. But they were there was reports that came out he was really upset with some of the things that the team ended up saying about him.
Yeah, and that makes it like Jason said. It's that doesn't really help you with future negotiations whatsoever.
Might solve the immediate problem, but you start looking down the road like, hey, all those things we said about you in the last one, we were just joking. You turned out pretty good.
Right? That's like, oh yeah, things are good now, right? We have no problem. We have no problems anymore.
We're still bros.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Because they have $9 million in cap space. The Ducks have always been notoriously that team that doesn't spend to the cap, but they have recently.
Last few years.
They have basically gigantic contracts with their top end players or guys that rely upon with Perry, Kessler, and Getzlaf. Getzlaf really earning the keep there. Kessler. The injuries are unfortunate. You can't predict those. And they just gave Cam Fowler a boatload of money, which I wasn't really happy about when they signed him into that extension. I feel like they didn't need to give him that cash, but now they did. So they've got a lot of money tied up long term. Do you guys see them making any plays for any free agents or any other trade targets? A target that I would like to see, and I know it's really far-fetched, is like a Jeff Skinner trade. Of course, Skinner would have to approve it over, but is there anybody else you guys would think that the Ducks would like to target or you would like to see him target?
In free agency, the only one left is Pat Maroon, and I think we all kind of want to avoid going back to to that guy. I mean, the contract that he's looking for is not that great, and he's kind of the opposite of what at least Bob Murray has said the Ducks are looking to get. But, I mean, in trade, the names that have been going around are Jeff Skinner, like you said, Wayne Simmonds, because Philadelphia